when opportunity, when you meet the opportunity, there's a lot. So, I always tell the people, we all gonna have opportunity. I mean, I'm 100% sure. In your career, you're gonna have opportunity. What make a difference is really who is prepared, and that's what make a difference. And so it's always good to try to prepare. I know it's difficult because a lot of time is you prepare, you say, gosh, how come? Where's the opportunity? But the best way is just continue to prepare. Opportunity always going to come out. So. And then maybe the other one is we did not talk a lot, but usually I talk a lot about 4E and 1P. You know why it's so important? In our life, you always have a lot of pressure. I used to be, I know in the business, and I used to give the people my experience when I joined the Seagate. So in that time, I haven't really trained how to handle the stress, right? So I used to be on the product development. I don't know, do you know what I mean product development? Meaning, if you don't call it product, then company has basically that's it, right? And I tell you, in the morning, I even afraid to wake up. Because every time when I wake up, I got to go to work. And in all the day, in that time, Seagate is about 1990, about 2000. So we always use voicemail. Customers send you the voicemail, so you can see the light, the red light. Every time when I see the red light, gosh, I tell you, you don't even dare to pick up because usually they will tell you you have a problem. So it's so again, in that time I was very young, right? I mean, I was 30 something, and the question is how you manage that, right? And then but this is not in the communication topic, but this is the other topic usually I like to share with people. Right? Under very stressed condition. By the way, it's always going to be very stressed. It could be from the work, from the family, from a lot of things. Right? The question is how to handle that. Some people seem to be handled very well. Some people a little bit challenged, but we all can learn. Right? And we learn. Well, my personal issue, I used to be very nervous, and you can look at my personality. I talk very fast because I'm always very nervous, right? And I always worry. But then I start to learn, and a lot of people help me. I mentioned about one of the best person was Joe Wise. He was my VP, and it's American, right? And all these people like American, is a very nice boss. The good thing is, he does not do anything. He really just sits in the office, right? Very typical American. So he basically let me do everything. But every time when I have a problem, I go to talk to him, and I still remember that, right? Because I always do the new product qualification development, and every time when I have a problem, I go to talk to him. Usually when I go to talk to him, usually we have a big problem. Either product cannot qualify. Like Yixin, if we don't get a revision, we cannot qualify. Your VP come to talk to you and that. So every time when I go to talk to him, he was my VP, and he's like, he looked like a Santa Claus, the white guy, always smile. As soon as I before I enter his office, Steve, good to see you. Always like that. And I always told him, I said, Joe, we have problem. Oh, he said, don't worry about it. That's the reason we have you, right? But the one thing he teach me was, I mentioned this before, was very good is, and that's what he said, right? He said, I know, and I told him I always worry, right? And he said, I know, Steve, we always think about worry can make a thing better, right? And they say, well, if it is true, then Steve, in our meeting, we do nothing. But we just sit there and ask everybody, let's worry about it. So the point is, The worry does not going to make it anything better. It's just somehow psychologically we feel that. But anyway, it's I'm just talking about in our life, regardless of what we do, work, family, anything. I mean, even including driving, could be very stressful also. But I think there's a way to learn how to deal with that. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy, but there's always the way to do that. And the more you do it, the easier to cope with that. Because some people actually cope very well. I know when I'm CK, if they know me, I always very intense, right? Very high energy. So they always worry about, Steve, can you sleep during the night? I say, I'm always sleep like a baby. How can you sleep like a baby? We have so many problems. I say, yeah, 10 o'clock I sleep. 5 o'clock I wake up. And they say, how can you do that? Every day you was just, I say, yeah. I say, I was just energetic bunny, in the company. But when I go home, I turn off the cellular phone. Just sleep, I put the brighter, and I put some ear prop, sleep. So, but anyway, that's the other one. When we start to go through the career development workshop, I certainly will more than happy to share with you on that. Okay.
Question.
Sure.
So being worried comes from pressure. So
Yeah.
how do you think about pressure? Because you're leading a team, you want to put some pressure on them, and so they can behave and perform. So how do you balance?
Yeah, I always tell people, right? If you think about how to get better, always need some stress. If there's no stress, you will not get stronger. So I tell people, you always need to feel stress. If you do not feel stress, then you cannot get better. However, we need to manage the stress. If the stress is too big, then that's a problem, right? You rupture your muscle. It's the same philosophy. You apply to team, some stress, really try to make them better, like stay up. But you got to make sure, because everybody takes stress different. So that's the one that I watch very careful to see how much stress they can take. But everybody know you always need to take some stress, otherwise we will not get better. But we also need to watch how much stress people can take. The interesting thing is that the more you train yourself, the more you get paid. Today I can take a lot of stress because I was trained. Compared to say 20 years ago, when I joined CK, I don't think I can take a lot of stress. I can't sleep. I don't even want to be honest, I did not want to go to work. It's just I have to because I gotta make money, right? But right now it's I just start to train. You still dedicated, try to make everything successful, but because your thinking is quite different, right? So again, this one is just like you train muscle. If you always get a little bit stressed and always try to push you, and they train, and then your capacity, handle stress capacity could continue. Should we start there? Okay, so let me just recap very quick, right? For some people, I start with a lot, and I think it's important to get every grad. I really, I think at the point that I try to encourage you. I think you make a very, very good decision to start this career development. Everybody asked me about, this soft skill development, when you should learn it. And usually I tell people, if I get a chance to redo this again, I wish when I was in college, somebody told me. Rather than in college, the only thing I try to get is try to get a PhD. Right? Because what the soft skill, career development skill is more important than the degree we got. Then the other, I mentioned about 4 years and 1 POA. I'm going to just, for some of you did not get a chance to see this one, and the GM did not, and then Connie. Okay. But anyway, I think that we're talking about communication. So I mentioned about the communication number one, try to manage in the phone and the email. Truly, and we have some. So we pass. He sent an email to me. I sent an email to him. always like that. The point I'm trying to make is, especially for young generation, they think this communication. Right now, social media, everybody think about the communication in social media. I tell you, in the corporate or in the business, it's all email. You better go to manage your email very, very quick. And I give you an example about, my engineer asked me about, Steve, does our CEO even read the email? I said, what do we send? In 30 minutes. He was shocked. He got a reply from Steve Russo. But again, I knew that because I watch everything on email. So this means last week I asked about how many email you have. The only reason I ask you this one, you don't want to have more email than you can manage it. Because you do not want to miss some of very important email. Especially the person could be making you become manager, director, VP, or could be your customer. And I believe me, right now I have a lot of people say, I didn't see your email. I say, I'm not surprised. Because they just have so many email come. So again, the whole point is, in the communication, electronic communication is really trying to help you to communicate, not to become a burden. So if you have your email list, say you have like I don't know, Henry, how many unread email you have in the CK account?
Over 1,000.
I see the 20,000. I said, even 20,000 unread, why you need an email? 20,000, because in CK every time when they make a presentation, I can see how many email they. I said, you have 20,000? 欺负 you probably what? 10,000? Closer. 10,000 email. Didn't read it. And I said, why you need? And then by the way, he has like beyond 3-4 personal account. But again, you can go check my email. I read everyone. I delete. But anyway, the message is try to develop your method, the system to manage that, and you gotta go do that. Presentation. We're gonna be the last week. We're gonna talk about presentation. Share with you how to make a presentation. We mentioned about today. So we're gonna talking about how you're gonna talk to your boss or talk to your customer, and we also gonna give today. Before we're talking about this one, last week we're talking about how you communicate with your team. For example, if you lead a team, you could be engineer, you could be manager, you could be director, you could be VP, you could be leader of the team for project, you could be leader the people, right? And then how you make a communication. So I know you all got homework. We ask you for homework. So we're gonna ask 3 minutes communication. Who want to be volunteer, the first one to do it? Okay, see, okay, it's okay we take a video. Okay, good.
So this is